Good morning or good afternoon for those who are joining us from the Netherlands. Hi everyone, my name is Peggy from Dutcham. Well, welcome. I see a lot of people joining bit by bit the virtual meeting room. Happy to see you. It's Friday again, so we have good reasons to be happy today, because not only we're coming up for a long weekend, potentially all of you, but also because we have a very nice lunch talk coming up now here at Dutcham. Welcome that you join. Have a seat, relax. Still a few people are coming in bit by bit in our meeting room. Good to see you. Now, today we have a very nice person, a Dutch guy who is coming in my, in the meantime, very famous sofa now. He's still hiding a little bit. Maybe I can ask him to join us already. John, hi, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon.
Or good afternoon already. Good morning. Indeed, as I said, we have a very interesting company today, but we also have a very nice Dutch guy with us today for almost 15 years, I think, right, John, that you're working for Agrifirm.
Yeah, exactly.
A long time already. Now you have been working for many years, 15 years, as I said, both in Central and Eastern Europe for Agrifirm. You've been managing a lot of companies in high-level top positions at Agrifirm. You've been not only dealing with the Netherlands, with Spain, with Belgium, but you've always also been based in Poland, if I'm not right, and even in Romania. And then since 2018, January 2018, you made the move to Latin America, based in Curitiba, where you manage from there on the whole region of Latin America for Agrifirm. On top of that, I think, John, that I also can mention that you're part of the executive committee at the Royal Agrifirm since many years. And even more important, you're also an active member of our advisory board at Dutcham. So, yeah. Welcome, John.
Yeah, it sounds like very special if you present me like this, Peggy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me here. Because it's it's really an honor. I've seen some very nice colleagues, which I respect a lot, on your couch. So I'm very happy to be here today as well.
Yeah, well, the couch is becoming, in the meantime, very famous, John, but very happy to have you with us today. Now, for those who don't know Agrifirm, I just propose, and it gives also the time of more people coming in bit by bit in the meeting room, that we just have a look at a video of Agrifirm. Gives already a sneaky preview of the company, and we're going to talk more about that in a few seconds.
Uma refeição em família diz muito sobre nossas conexões humanas. O mais puro gesto de afeto, resumido em alimentar, nutrir, proteger. Por vezes, pode passar despercebido, mas uma refeição como essa diz muito sobre o nosso negócio na Agrifirm. Porque a nossa história começa muito antes da mesa posta, do cheirinho clássico de comida pronta. Da celebração de momentos especiais. A nossa história começa onde há espaço para o que é bom crescer. Fundada na Holanda há quase 130 anos, somos uma empresa global, referência em inovação, focada em aumentar os resultados de produtores locais. Estamos no campo, na fazenda, na indústria e em uma cadeia alimentar que se preocupa com as gerações futuras, com a nutrição, a sustentabilidade do nosso planeta e do agronegócio brasileiro, pensando sempre na casa dos nossos filhos, também chamada Futuro. A Agrifirm é uma empresa que conhece as necessidades dos produtores, sendo a nutrição animal o grande trunfo para aumentar a produtividade e maximizar resultados, sem abrir mão, é claro, de alimentos cada vez mais nutritivos e qualificados, que ao final impactam no que chega à mesa do consumidor, pois a nossa origem é o campo. Nossas unidades estão estrategicamente situadas para melhor atender os nossos clientes, caminhando a passos largos para uma rede capaz de distribuir para todos os cantos do país. Uma estratégia de expansão que nos posiciona como uma das referências do segmento no mercado brasileiro. Geramos resultados e valor mensurável e sustentável aos parceiros, levando tecnologia e inovação até o campo. O nosso constante investimento em pesquisas científicas, combinado com o conhecimento e experiência global, tem um objetivo central: desenvolver soluções para produzir mais e melhor para a saúde e nutrição do planeta e da nossa gente. Por isso, oferecemos uma linha completa de suplementos vitamínicos e minerais, núcleos e concentrados, premix, rações especiais, substitutos lácteos e aditivos. A Agrifirm cresce enxergando no quintal de casa a nossa terra. Um horizonte cheio de oportunidades para atender a crescente população mundial e alimentar o mundo com mais qualidade. Sabemos do nosso impacto e responsabilidade hoje para garantir o futuro da alimentação. E temos orgulho do que contribuímos até aqui e de tudo que ainda vamos construir juntos. Orgulho do agro, orgulho de alimentar o mundo. Agrifirm. Juntos somos melhores.
Beautiful introduction. Once again, for the people who just popped into our virtual meeting room, welcome for this nice talk with John Dortmans, the Director of Latin America for Agrifirm. John, well, let me ask, first of all, maybe the most important question, because I already made some introduction of you in the position at Agrifirm, but who is the real John?
Who is the real John? Yeah, that's just... That's me. That's what you see. I'm a father of two boys, Hugo and Nathan, 6 years old, 3 years old. I'm married to Annemiek, my wife. We live here in Curitiba, in Brazil. I've been working for 15 years, like you said, in Agrifirm, of which 10 years away from the Netherlands. So already for quite a long time that we're not in the Netherlands anymore. Still, we're enjoying it a lot. We love living here in Brazil. We love Curitiba. We're having a very good time together with the family. And actually all the years that we were abroad brought us really a lot. We've been living 6.5 years in Poland and in Hungary. And then we left Europe for Uruguay. And now since almost 2 years in Brazil. So very special that we have this opportunity through the work to see parts of the world.
Yeah, well, good to have you here, John, because you're doing an amazing job, I think, with Agrifirm here. Now, talking about the company, let me just go back in time. It's 130 years, I already saw in the video, that it started, I think, as a very small, it's I think, one of the oldest cooperatives that started in the Netherlands, right? From people that were willing to purchase livestock, animal feed, and fertilizers together. I think all of that started there. Now, 130 years later, at least what we can say, it's become a really important company, globally speaking. 3,000 people employed all over the world, 59 locations, if I'm well informed, generating 2.2 billion euros of turnover. It's not such a small company anymore, right?
No.
Now, when we talk about what is exactly done by Agrifirm, you say we offer solutions for the farming business, but just explain a little bit more. What are the activities all about?
Yeah, so if you look at our company in Brazil, so globally we have actually two pillars in the way we are approaching the market. We have the agricultural business, so that's like crop inputs, that's everything around land and crops. And internationally, also in the Netherlands, but internationally, we're mainly focused on animal nutrition. And then animal nutrition, like was explained in the video, is about additives. It's about young animal nutrition. It's premixes, concentrates, minerals. And I think for those who don't know our business, if you compare it with human nutrition, you should compare it with the more specialized nutrients. So when you want to boost your performance, when you want to work on your health, on your well-being, then you have supplements or you have vitamin combinations. So that's what we do for animals, and the same in young animal nutrition. So think about the baby milk, milk powders, or baby foods. That's something that we do, but then for young animals.
Okay, and also the activities here in Brazil, they're mainly focused on the same activities, or is just a part of the industry that you're covering?
No, these are the activities that we're doing here in Brazil. Yeah, we have in total, we have 4 locations, 3 plants. Mm-hmm. And from Curitiba, where we have our office, where I'm today, we also have the management of the region. which is one plant more in Uruguay, and we're exporting into countries like Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, Peru, and Paraguay.
Yeah, well, I think that the agribusiness in Brazil is a very important industry, right? I mean, how important is Agrifirm for the global group, if you look at it in a global picture?
Yeah, Brazil is very important for us as Agrifirm. First of all, it's one of the core countries in our strategy. And that's because, well, looking at our mission is to contribute to a responsible food chain for future generations. You saw a lot of kids in the video. Well, that's what we're thinking about, the next generations, and how are we going to sustainably, responsibly provide them with food. Mm-hmm. And then looking at Brazil is a core element in feeding the world. Today, Brazil is already feeding 20% of the global population, and then in 2050, we know that we have to feed 10 billion people. And that means that there's going to be a demand of almost 60% more food.
Yeah. How are you going to do that, John? Because indeed, I mean, it's tackling already a very important subject, I think, feeding the world. 10 billion people in 2050. I mean, it's approximately double the production that we have now these days on food. How is a company like Agrifirm looking at that? It's a huge challenge, right?
Yeah, so it's partly being in the countries that need to support in that demand. So 40% of the increase is coming from Brazil. So that's a big responsibility for Brazil. How we look at this is with the solutions and the services that we provide to the market, we can support in providing the knowledge to make that happen, to have that sustainable growth in the market. You can think about products that help the productivity of animals or the productivity of the land. And in this way, without needing more resources, or actually by decreasing the amount of resources needed to feed animals, we're able to improve the output, and in this way, create that demand that is needed.
Yeah. How difficult is this, John? You can compare a bit with Europe and here in Brazil now. I mean, the challenges are very big. If we look at Brazil when it comes down, on the whole sustainability aspect, I mean, it's also a bit of a mindset. How is Agrifirm anticipating on that? How do you work with this?
Now, I think first of all, Brazil is already doing a lot of good things. I think if you really look at the facts, what's happening in Brazil, then you see that the productivity in Brazil in the last 30 years has exploded. It went from a net importing country for food to the main exporting country globally. Like I said, 20% of the global consumption is coming from here. This was done by increasing productivity. So what Brazil has already shown is that it can go hand in hand, improving productivity and sustainability. Mm-hmm. Another remark which I would like to make is that it's very important that if you look at the whole sustainable discussion, that we look at the facts. So in the discussion where we place ourselves in as Agrifirms, we look, okay, where can we contribute, and what is there really needed to be contributed to. So sustainability, I think, is very important, because without sustainability, we cannot, in a proper way, deal with this increasing demand. And there is much more sustainability already happening in Brazil than people realize in Europe.
It's all, and you're a very active part as well of our sustainability committee, right, within Dutcham. So I think we've talked about this already several times. It's also about image setting of Brazil, right, that we only hear the negative sound, and unfortunately the positive, which is a bit of a pity.
No, it's if you look at the numbers, there's a big discussion about illegal deforestation and the impact that is caused by agribusiness. If you look at the numbers for Europe alone, it's less than 0.5% of the total import of soybean meal is connected to illegal deforestation. That's a problem, right? That's a problem. We need to solve that. We need to tackle that. But that shows actually how small the issue is from agribusiness perspective, not walking away from the responsibilities that we need to take as a company. But I think in this way, looking at Brazil and what is really the challenge that we have locally, and how can we tackle that together with Brazil, I think that's the main, that's one of the key elements in my role and in how I'm working with Agrifirm.
Agrifirm has also the slogan, "Better Together." I think you engage very much with local farmers. You help them to drive innovation and new technology. You call it "Farm the Future Together." Can you say something more about this? How do you do this? How do you drive this technology and innovation together with the farmers?
Yeah, so better together. How are we better together with the farmers? First of all, you mentioned in the introduction, we're a cooperative. So we started almost 130 years ago, focusing on purchasing together to farmers that funded this cooperative to purchase cheaper together, and that developed into developing knowledge and focusing on improving the performance of the farmers. And I think that's something that never left our DNA. So today that's still in our DNA. So when we look at our business, we always approach it from farmer perspective. So what is this going to, how is this going to support the farmer? How is it going to support the well-being and the performance of his animals? And then we looked at back from the way we approach the market with our customers. Here we have farmers as direct customers, but we're also working with very large cooperatives, some the same size that we have in the Netherlands, our largest market globally. Others are big integrations that are globally the main suppliers in certain animal groups. So better together for us is really, okay, what is in it for the customer finally? How can we support the farmer? What I would like to tell, if I may, Peggy, is something I'm proud of, is the campaign that we started last year, is Orgulho do Agro, is Proud on Agro. And what we're trying to accomplish with this campaign is actually to bring positive information about the agribusiness here in Brazil, because there are many very nice stories to be told. And through this campaign, we try to create more awareness and support agribusiness in that way. Better together for us is also more than the customers, right? It's together with our employees, it's together with our suppliers, with our competitors, with Dutcham. So how can we find partnerships? How can we work in this network of companies or organizations to finally find a common added value that will help all of us to improve ourselves?
Exactly. Now, I think also what you maybe didn't really mention is technology. I think that innovation and technology is also key, right, with Agrifirm. How important is Brazil in this matter? I mean, is there still some innovation research that is done here in Brazil, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we have different partnerships. If you look at innovation, we have our central team, which is mainly based in Europe, but which has very strong connections also with the other regions. So we have Asia is an important region, Latin America, and of course Europe. If we look at the connection there and the partnerships that we have Wageningen University from the Netherlands, very important internationally, well known as knowledge-driven organization in agribusiness, or life sciences, we should say. We have partnerships with global companies like Land O'Lakes, the largest cooperative in agribusiness from the US. And we have partnerships with universities, for example, in Sao Paulo, in Paraná, in which we are doing local tests and local research to develop. Next to that, we're scouting the market. So we have a scouting team who's looking at, okay, what kind of developments do we see in the Brazilian market? And how can we connect it to our business? Can be startups, can be existing companies where we find something that fits very well in our portfolio. And then we try to find the partnership there and work on that. And that's of added value, of course, to Brazil. But it works vice versa. So the information goes also globally, and we see what works in Brazil. Can we make that work in China? Or can we use the information that we have in China, where we have a research center? Can we use that in Brazil? And that's how we try to, well, again, bring as many synergies as we can to our company.
Yeah, and to bring also a little bit of knowledge from Brazil outside
Not a little bit. I think it's impressive how competitive and how professional this market is. I think most people will not realize this, but this is a very competitive and professional market. All the large international players are here. There are very strong local players. So the Brazilian market is not only following the innovation, it's also very much driving the global innovation that's going on.
Yeah. Coming back indeed to this whole sustainability aspect, recently, John, you signed what they call the statement for the Brazilian business sector. It was a commitment for a more responsible food chain. Tell us something more about that. This is something really important, I think, both for the company, but also for you personally, right?
Yeah. No, at first we signed the statement as to show our commitment, to again in partnership with other companies to bring a voice towards Brazilian institutions, governments, to continue to develop the sustainability, to be critical in the changes that might need to be made right now, to always have a critical mind on how can we further develop on the sustainability topics that there are. And of course, we as Agrifirm, we wanted to also connect our voice to that. So that's what we did. And I think, again, it's very good to see that there international companies, strong Brazilian companies are putting the hands together and seeing how we can influence these policymakers.
Yeah, but again, if you look at the demand of food that is really increasing so enormously, doesn't that put some pressure on the whole industry of producing more and maybe just not always thinking about the sustainability of the food chain? I mean, isn't that putting the bar very high for a lot of companies? Because again, I mean, we have to double for 2050.
Yeah, I think. Maybe as a start, to start with the farmer, I think there's no is very black and white, but I don't think there's any farmer who goes that wants to deplete his resources, and his resources are the land that he has and the animals. So at the moment that you don't take good care of your land or you don't take good care of your animals, you're going to be out of business in no time. It's just their prices are not. It's not that margins are so high in this business. Actually, they're very tight. So you have to be very careful how you operate. And most farmers, I think almost all farmers, are cooperating in a way that is good for nature and that's good for the animal, because that's finally good for the performance of the company. So I do believe that sustainability goes hand in hand on farm level. And I think very much that also the next to Agrifirm also are, let's say the main partners and competitors that we have in the industry recognize very much the need of being able to feed the world, the 10 billion people in 2050, but in a sustainable way without depleting the natural resources that we have. And is that difficult? I think it's a big responsibility that all of us have. But I think we have the knowledge, all companies combined, also here in Brazil, we have the knowledge, the skills and the resources to make it happen.
But the willingness also, I think. I think the willingness.
No, exactly. The willingness. And I feel very much that the willingness is there in the industry. I think we could even work together even more. But also there you see a tendency that people are starting to get out of their own, let's say, boxes and to cooperate much more together to make this happen. So, no, yes, it's a challenge, but I think we're going to be able to do it.
Yeah. Hey, John, talking about the agribusiness as such and Agrifirm, how can I say sexy is this industry to attract young potential people? Because again, I mean, the farming industry, I mean, has maybe not had the image, and it's not anymore like it was before. I mean, it become a high level technology innovation driven business. How do you attract young professionals, young talents into your business?
Well, part of the answer is in your question, because by explaining then that it's high technology driven business, I think that's important, that people understand what agribusiness really is. I think what many of our people find their passion in is that we are actually feeding the world. We are working on you saw in the movie, you see a family that is that's eating, that's having fun. How many social interactions do we have apart from the basic needs that many people have? But how many social interactions do we have with food? When I go to the supermarket here, and the same for employees, I can literally see the branding of our customers in the supermarket. So I'm buying, of course, all the products from our customers. So you can literally see the impact that you have on that. And that's what we try to explain a lot to our people, apart from taking very good care of the people that we have in our company. That's very important. It's one of the top regional goals that we have. We have three. First one is we want to grow 3 times our size in the coming years until 2024. The second one is a very important one, and that's to be the best employer in the industry. Third one is to be the benchmark company in the industry. So that's a combination of it. But to be the best employer of the industry, that's a big ambition, and
how do you do that, John? How do you do that?
Yeah,
how can you be a good employer?
Yeah, it starts by listening to our people, understanding their challenges, understanding their needs, and taking it seriously. And of course, then we have different programs that we're working with. We are another thing I'm proud of. We are certified as Great Place to Work company this year. Something which was not so. Well, we didn't expect it to get it in the first year, because what we heard from the organization is that normally you don't get the certification in your first year. So that shows already the appreciation of our people, which I'm very thankful for. But it also shows how where we can still improve, and that's what we are working very much on. And for that we have different programs. We have an Agricare program. In which we're really looking at the mental and physical well-being of our people. How can we influence that? How can we support them with the challenges there are, not only in the pandemic, but also during the pandemic, but also now? How can we support our employees, but more importantly also their families? And we take that very seriously. I think that's an attitude that we want to have in our company, and that helps our people. They recognize that, hopefully, as much as possible. And it helps to retain our talents, and it also helps to attract new people there where we need.
Yeah, I think also one of the things, and again, there you're an active partner for Dutcham, is in diversity and inclusion, also something that is very key for your organization, right, John? Yeah. What concretely are you doing in these terms? I mean, how do you drive diversity and inclusion in your local organization?
Yeah, we have, first of all, I think I should give a compliment, because in one of the conversations which we had before, you already mentioned how actively we are joining there. I think our HR manager, the passion that she has for this topic, Sibeli is her name, the passion she has for this topic, it's amazing. It's great to see. Of course, that energy she is also very much taking into our organization. But that's the same energy you see with other people in our organization, which you see in our management team. And I think coming back to Great Place to Work, it's very much focused also on the topic. Questions like, do you feel appreciated in the company? Do you feel that you can be yourself? We score pretty high there, but still, if only 1 or 2 people don't score the 100% there, that gives us a reason to focus. Then we have a challenge.
Absolutely.
I think it's very much about creating an environment of trust. It's creating an environment of respect, and really show that we care. And I know that sounds easy, right? It's 3 easy words, and then okay, let's go. No, that takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of effort. And again, it's about listening to our people, understanding what are their needs, their challenges, and of course, it's not only soft, right? So we have very clear targets. We need to reach those. We have a spirit in the company of people that are really loyal, committed, and want to work hard. But that also gives us the responsibility to make sure that we constantly check how they are doing, and what we can do as an employer to support them.
Is that a bit the Dutch spirit that is still there, John? Or how do you believe that there is some Dutch spirit still in the organization, or is it much more Brazilian?
I think it's a combination of the both. I find it always difficult to talk about the Dutch spirit or the Brazilian spirit, or I think it's just who we are as a company, or the people you're working with. And of course, there are cultural differences between the countries, but I think it's very much important to see what drives people, and how can we make the best out of that. So if it's Dutch or Brazilian, I think it's a mix of both. I think it's a dance between a Dutch and a Brazilian spirit.
But they have a Dutch boss, right? So they have a Dutch boss, so they have to be very direct, right?
True. The Dutch boss is pretty direct and sometimes impatient. I always say sometimes, but I think it's maybe a bit more than I would like. But the way the positive attitude, the way the professional attitude people have to work, and the passion that they bring to work, I think that's fantastic, and I'm very happy that I have the possibility to work with as a Dutch guy here in Brazil.
With so many passionate Brazilians, because I think that is something that we have to learn from the Brazilians, right?
Yes,
now I'm also looking at the chat box. In the meantime, for the people who are watching, feel free to post your question there. I see some question coming in, John, that I would like to tackle with you. How much is Agrifirm involved in the development of alternative proteins? A bit of a technical one, but I think a very interesting one.
Yeah, no, very much. I mean, one of our core research teams is alternative proteins. We have cooperations with companies, for example, in insect protein in the Netherlands, and we're constantly looking on how we can, especially in Europe, how we can replace certain proteins for alternatives. So it's a topic very high on our agenda. And again, there we're looking for partnerships. There we're looking for available. With our R&D budget, we're making new products available. I cannot give all the details, unfortunately, but it's a very important
competition who is asking this question, of course. So we need to be careful.
Could be.
But how do you see the future of this? Because I think it's a relevant question in the sense, okay, how do you see the future of this? Is this one of the things that will contribute to indeed more sustainable food chain for the future? How do you see that, John, personally?
I think it will contribute. I think you will maintain, as they call it, mainstream. Mainstream is not a very sexy word, but I think you will keep a big part still mainstream, but sustainable protein sources. And next to that, there will be a top-on of alternative proteins, again to support the global food demand that there is for 2050. So I think it will come together.
Okay, well, thank you for the question. And again, I mean, we're still there for a few minutes, so if you have another question. Now, coming back to people, I mean, and we have to face the pandemic. I mean, every organization was hit quite hard by the pandemic already since 2 years, John. But apparently, it doesn't look like that it's attacking Agrifirm, because if I see the expansion that you're making over the last 2 years, it's just enormous. You have new plans in Minas Gerais, earlier also in May. And a new industrial plant in Maripé. Where do we go? More expansions coming up, more growth coming up. John, tell us all about it.
Well, we have built a new additives plant in Maripé. We have integrated the location in Uberlândia. Next to that, we have invested in our factories. So we have increased and are increasing at the moment with our investments the capacity in our factories. So that is one part of the answer to your question. So that is supporting the expansion that we foresee. So we will focus now on having those factories completely full. And next to that, we are looking to the market where we can find, again, either strategic partners to have a cooperation, or looking at acquisitions to fulfill that goal of increasing the size of our company here. So yeah, it's both.
Yeah, well, you stay very low profile, especially for being a Dutch, right? I mean, but I think it's a tremendous success that you've been having here in Brazil. But if again, the Corona, did it impact your business? Did you had some negative side fall of this, or do you notice that there is an increase of activity rather?
Yeah, so we're part of agriculture, right? So we say agriculture doesn't stop, and it's the same for us. But of course, we see impacts. I'm very happy that we were able to grow our business. I think 20% growth in volume for us was a good year. Still, we would like to have done more. So acquisition in these kind of times is more difficult, because especially at the height of the pandemic, then it was not so easy to visit new customers or to increase the business. Still, I think we were doing a very good job. So the positive thing is that I think that we've shown to be able to deal with this in a very good way. On the other hand, we would have liked to grow a bit more. Mm-hmm. This year so far, it's going very well. So I believe that we really got the hang of it. And let's see how we end this year. But I'm positive. But it was not easy. I mean, if you look at the impact that it had to our people, to our customers, if you look at what impact there is now in the whole commodity and supply chain challenges around the world, that's impacting prices. Those prices are impacting our market, are impacting farmers. So it's not all party mode that's going on in the business right now. Yeah, and then it's very important that we as a company are there to support our customers and the farmers with the right services, advice to deal with these challenging circumstances. So, yeah, I'm very positive about what we were able to accomplish in the last few years. Still, it's within a context which is very challenging.
Challenging. Yeah. How do you look at next year, John? How do you see on the short term, let's say? Let's talk already about next year.
I think short-term supply chain will still have a big impact on our business. So that's going to be, again, a challenging period. I'm very positive if I look at the new products that we are introducing into the market. We just introduced a few new innovations, and we're planning for the next year as well. So yeah, I'm very positive about this, but it's. I also don't want to give the impression here like everything is wonderful, because that would not respect the situation that's going on in the market right now.
Exactly. And we already touched on this point. The well-being of the employees is also a bit of a challenge, I think. And then I'm going a bit to the end of this chat. But how did you achieve of motivating people? Because I think the same for you, right, John? A lot of people went in home office modus. Some were not possible to go. The people in the factories, in the industry. But how did you keep, an eye on the well-being of your people? How did you do that?
Yeah, we have our Agricare program is I think I mentioned just now is about well-being of our people. So we some examples. We have a nutritionist which is supporting people on how to maintain a healthy style in nutrition. Same with physical exercises, with mental health. We are supporting with different programs, different events. We're supporting the people. Virtual parties. Let's not forget how important it is, even if we're on a distance, to do something fun together, to have music, to see people dancing in front of a camera. It doesn't matter as long as we connect. So these kind of things we have been organizing throughout the year. And we have a partnership with an organization which can offer professional service. So if people really are in need for professional service, then we have a partnership with an organization that can offer this. In a trusted environment. We are not involved in that, but we do create the situation that our people can get the support if they cannot find it somewhere else themselves. And I think it's the leadership as well to check in with our people regularly. How is it? Because it has been a very stressful period. Different stress factors that we didn't know before that came into play. So it's really to check regularly with the people, give them space, give them flexibility in when to work, and I think that's most important. And so far it has been paying off for us.
Yeah, cool. And who's taking care of John then in all of this? Who's taking care of the leader? Because I mean, the leader needs to create this environment for the people. But at the end of the day, we're all humans, right, John? So what is keeping you driving, positively in these times?
It's my people. It's the energy that I'm getting from how our people are dealing with these times, how passionate they are still, how full of joy they can work on product introductions or work on customer on the customer approach, on the sales part. It's how they are dealing with the challenges, because of course it's not only the positive stories that you hear, you also hear the challenges, and then seeing how people are dealing with that and the resilience that they show, that gives me a lot of energy, that gives me a lot of motivation. Also because, I mean, look at the situations that our people are dealing with, and of course I can never complain. If I see in the situation where I'm then a privileged person, and I think the resilience that our people have shown in the last 2 years give me a lot of energy and motivation. And of course, my kids, my family, that's another one. Because also for kids, it's not easy, right? Having to wear the mask to school, all the social distancing, but they do it like it's easy, and it's great to see. So that's how I somehow find my motivation and energy to
and your positive spirit. I think, John, this is the way I know you. Always smiling and always positive. Yes. I mean, I think. Now, ending up with a positive note, John. What kind of message would you like to give to the audience to close this really nice talk? Looking at the future, we're ending up bit by bit here. Hopefully, ending up also a little bit of Corona. What kind of message would you pass to the audience?
Yeah, not knowing exactly who we have in the audience, I can imagine that it's a diverse group. People that are already having business in Brazil, and some people that are cooperating or thinking of cooperating. I think what's very important is invest in getting to know Brazil. Don't just follow what you read in the papers when you're from the Netherlands or Europe, but check with Brazilians, check with Brazilian companies, and find out yourself, because Brazil is more than the president. Brazil is more than Carnival. It has much more to offer. And the reality might be different, or I know that it's different, but might be different than what sometimes is available in the news, in the media in Europe or in the Netherlands. Small message at the end.
Yeah, well, and it looks you're definitely fallen in love for Brazil. That's for sure already, I think, John. So, but it's a good thing, because we're very happy to have you leading one of the big Dutch companies here for us in Brazil. Thank you very much for talking to us today over this lunchtime. I wish you a very good holiday, because I know that you're going to run off for holidays now.
Yes.
So I appreciate that you were willing to be with us today to have this talk. So thank you very much, John. And we will talk very soon in the Sustainability, the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and in the Advisory Board, right?
Yeah, it was my pleasure, and thanks for having me.